this a new Pizzagate? New York City is cracking down on coal wood-fired pizzerias. The New York City Department of Environmental Protection has written new rules that would order pizzerias using coal ovens to cut carbon emissions by 75%. Department spokesman Tim Timbers, ironically named, said Sunday, all New Yorkers deserve to breathe healthy air, and wood and coal-fired stoves, among the largest contributors of harmful pollutants in neighborhoods with poor air quality. The rule could require pizzerias with these kinds of ovens that were installed before May of 2016 to buy emission control devices. Here's how one New Yorker reacted to the coal oven crackdown.
You heard of the Boston Tea Party? Well, this is the New York. This is the New York Pizza Party. Give us pizza or give us death. Give us pizza or give us death. Give us pizza or give us death.
The owner of one Brooklyn pizza restaurant says he's already spent $20,000 on an air filter system. Predicting the new mandate, owner of pizza joint Polly G's in Greenpoint said, "Oh yeah, it's a big expense," the New York Post writes. And Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy had this to say about the news on coal ovens.
You know what? Pizzerias use coal ovens. All the best. All the best. John's of Bleecker, Patsy's, Totano's, you name it. Any pizza place, they're like, oh, this is Manhattan. This is old school. This is what people think about when they think of NYC. They have a coal oven. They've been grandfathered in. They've been there for 100 years minimum, most of them.
That was some language we don't like to repeat here on Rising, but I understand the frustration. Look, is this not a little bit of a bait and switch with the mainstream media went nuts or like made fun of conservatives for saying they're coming for your guest?
It's outrageous. This is fascism in the streets.
Oh, okay.
Look, I agree with this. Why are you saying, oh, come on to me? This man made a comparison to the Boston Tea Party, which is a foundational event of our entire country that led to the Revolutionary War. And ye gads, if there's not a revolution in the streets of New York City, because they're coming for our coal-fired pizzerias, then I don't know that I can sit here and call myself a New Yorker.
Deep state, deep dish, you do the math. But look, imposing, I don't want to impose more. I mean, New York restaurants hit horrifically during the pandemic. Small business owners, it's bad times. I don't want to be imposing additional costs on them, especially by the New York City Department of Environmental Protection. This is just kind of like a rule they invented. Was there
unlike all
meeting?
The other rules, which are coming down on the stone of Hammurabi?
No, I mean, no, it's legislation. You can have community engagement. These are, presumably just more bureaucrats, not.
If they made the rule, then they have the authority to promulgate rules. The authority to make rules is delegated to agencies.
They have the authority to make.
Yes, that's like agency law. You delegate. People have rule-making authority that's been delegated to them, and they make these rules. Now, that's not a defense of the rule in and of itself. If it's really true that the kind of filtration systems that are being mandated here cost $20,000, that's obviously an incredible expense, and I think that there should be some kind of subsidy program if there really is that kind of environmental risk. I was reading another article, I think, in the Post, where one pizzeria said, I went ahead and installed this stuff that was expensive. On the upside, he said, quote, my neighbors are much happier. I had a guy coming in for years complaining that the smoke was, going right into his apartment, and I haven't seen him since I got the scrubber installed. So, I like to see the science. I Googled around. I couldn't really find much about the nature of the pollution, the kinds of harms that are being created by it, the health effects that are being created by all of this smoke. But if we can agree, if it is the case that there's a real negative health implication here, but I think it's right for people to put the filtration devices on, and that the government or whatever should subsidize the cost of that health intervention, public health intervention.
Yeah, I don't think you should, you can't have your chimney pointed at somebody's window and shove your smoke into their residence. But, these are beloved New York establishments. I would think changing the cooking implement is going to could theoretically have a significant impact on the quality of the pizza or what it tastes like. If you have a signature style or taste, all of that for your pizza. I'm reading the New York Post article about this. I'm all for responsible environmental practice, but tell Al Gore to take one less private jet or something.
I think that's also entirely true, that it seems like a proportionality issue. We covered the story of the Kalamazoo paper plant, which has been spewing toxic chemicals into the environment, causing thousands, I believe the number was, of infant deaths in the city. There are just a handful of companies that are responsible for a huge percentage of U.S. Air pollution. And obviously, airplanes are extremely toxic to the air quality. All of these things are true. That doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't be targeting some more localized harms as well, though. So, yes, this wouldn't be my priority, but the New York City Department of whatever, of air quality or whatever this was, can't control private jets that Elon Musk takes, so they're doing what they can do. And it does seem from some of these anecdotes in this piece, which is critical of the law, that there are New Yorkers who are also New Yorkers whose thoughts, feelings, and health matters too, who are going to be benefited by this and who have objected in the past to the negative consequences of pizza smoke. So this seems like an easy fix. If it's really a health issue, public health issue, then we can collectively pay for it to be accommodated and not to have those costs fall disproportionately on proprietors. I think that's very reasonable.
The report says I'm looking at the report itself now, 75% reduction, if 75% reduction is not feasible or a control device is unable to be installed, the restaurant must reduce emissions by at least 25% or provide an explanation for why controls cannot be installed. A city official said under 100 restaurants would be affected by the proposed rule.
So it's a very small number of restaurants, which cuts both ways. How big is the problem if it's only a few restaurants? But, also it's only a few restaurants, and maybe this is one of those
It kind of sounds like you'll be able to weasel out of it if you complain enough. But that's not great either, because as I always say, I want rules to be uniform and enforced uniformly, not if you know a guy or you can complain more or you have more access to better representation or something, you can kind of get out of it. That's like the worst of all.
Sure. Well, I did see that Eric Adams, mayor of New York City, obviously had a little bit of a sense of humor about that. He said after the pizza was thrown over the gates, I think that was of Gracie Mansion, that next time just please throw vegan pizza. He's very famously vegan, and he wants to be able to take advantage of the free slice.
What kind of piece of pizza do you want being thrown over the gate to your mansion, Briahna?
Gluten-free and vegan, please.
Gluten-free and
I'm very fun at parties.
I'm a big ham and pineapple person myself.
My favorite, I went to college. I spent a lot of years in the Boston area, and I really love Papa John's. That's a hot take a little bit, but I became very fond of Papa John's. And I like a Papa John's sausage, olive, and onion. My order.
Interesting. More rising right after this.